Hello, and welcome to another episode of Wheel of Horror, the podcast where two best friends spin a wheel once a week. It chooses the horror film, and they discuss it. Today we're talking about 2022's Jeepers Creepers Reborn, which was directed by Timo Virisallola. I'm your co-host, Alec.
I'm Erik, and with us again is our Jeepers Creepers expert, Ryan Baldassario. Ryan, welcome back to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited for the horror festival.
Oh my God, that festival in this movie. My God. Oh, God.
I love it. Love it.
They give a little Insane Clown Posse drive-by joke too.
Yeah, the gathering of the Juggalos, 100%.
Chef's kiss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I, yeah. This movie was like, this is like one of the worst ones I've ever seen, I think, on the podcast. I don't know. Erik, how do you feel about it?
I'm going to say a crazy take right now. Ryan, I don't know if you agree with me. I enjoyed this one more than three.
What?
Oh,
I did.
What?
freezing cold take.
I enjoyed it more than three, even though this movie had its like ridiculousness.
Erik, I want you to do me a favor. Right after this podcast, I
Mm.
want you to get your water checked in your house. I think there might be lead in the water, in your drinking water.
Okay, here we go.
You
Here we
need to
go.
get you need to get this checked.
I mean, it's a
Okay.
terrible movie, but it knows what it is, and it owned it and had fun with
Does
it.
it? Does it know what it is?
I think so. I think so. I think so. Maybe
Um,
not.
I feel like this was like a cash grab, dude. Like they just used the name. Like I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the CGI and all the other stuff.
Oh, the CGI.
Like, what did it remind you of? What film did it remind you of?
I don't know. I like nothing, dude. I don't
It
know.
kind of reminded me of Halloween Resurrection at one point when they're going to go film it and stuff. Remember? And then they don't at all.
Yes. I mean, Ryan, how do you feel about this? You're the expert here.
So I have so many thoughts about this movie. I have pages of notes.
We're already spiraling. Continue. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
I have no. I am so there's so many things. Just the white crow with the red eyes. Just like I didn't. Just it was hard to put into words what this movie made me feel. Alec, at one point when we're discussing the prospect of watching this movie, he's updating Erik and I, and he just kind of he felt like this. Alec, how did you phrase it? That it made you feel like you doubted cinema,
Yeah, like I just like lost faith in cinema.
and just having that just resonated the entire time I watched this movie because there's parts of it where I'm like, I just don't understand what the vision was.
I think it was just like we have this name and that's about it. I don't know. Because like the premise is basically it's a reboot because it's called Reborn, you know. So at least they give it that. At least it's not like Scream and Halloween and all these other reboots that's just like it's just the same as the original movie. So you're like, wait, is this the new one? What is it? So at least they give us Reborn in the title. I'll give them that. I will give them that. But yeah, it's like a retelling of the first movie in the beginning. And then basically the only thing that I thought was kind of cool is it's like, yeah, this takes place in our actual world where these movies exist and you know, people know about it, which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah, it's in a different self-aware universe.
Yeah, yeah. So like, okay, like sure. So that's the route they're going at least. So it's not like they're forgetting about those movies, but they're like, yeah, they're movies in this movie. But here's the thing, I texted you guys too. I'm like, I'm gonna drop some knowledge on you, some Jeepers Creepers knowledge. So here's the thing. I was gonna mention in the third one, but I wanted to save it for this one. So like, I don't know if you guys know about this, but the beginning of the original Jeepers Creepers movie and then the beginning of this one, that's actually based on a real story that happened. Do you guys know about that at all?
No, that's what I was going to ask about, but go for it. Yeah.
Dude, so like in 1990, like this couple driving in Michigan saw this huge truck behind them, and they were playing the same game that Justin Long and his sister were playing, where they were like looking at vanity plates and like joking about it, and they see this one that said GZ and then some other things, and the lady was like, "Geez, this guy really needs to get moving or whatever," because he was on their ass blaring a horn, does exactly what the creeper does, drives around them. And they drive past this abandoned old school and they see that same truck parked and they see the guy taking a bloody sheet or whatever and stuffing it down there. And they're like, what the fuck? So then they keep driving and then the truck comes after them, just like in this movie. They see the guy later, they like turn around, they're like, we need to go back and see this, just like in the fucking Jeepers Creepers, which everybody's like, that nobody would do that. These people did do this. They drive past, they see the truck on the side of the road changing the license plates, and they go back to the school or whatever. They find bloody sheets and they go to report it to the police. So like they got away, like so there's no creep or anything. But that whole event was real, and that guy killed his wife and was burying the body in a school. And yeah, they made a unsolved mystery story on it in 1990 something or whatever. And yeah, so I thought that was like kind of interesting that it is actually based in reality to some degree.
That's interesting because one of my first notes was Ronnie, private investigator. Look, why do people always go back to investigate? But that's funny that it's based on an actual instance of that happening, because it's just like you have to question, like, why would they do that? Just call the cops and just say, hey, by the way, we saw him dumping a bloody bag at the school. Just go check out the school. Anonymous tippet. Like, I don't understand why you have to go back and visually confirm it to call the cops. Call the cops.
Yeah.
Yeah, but to your point, Alec, too, is it feels like an urban legend. Like the Jeepers Creeper is an urban legend, and that story from the 90s or whatever is an urban legend to some extent. But it happened, you're saying it's real, but I could connect the two. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, look it up. The guy who killed his wife, the last name was Depew, Depue. And if you just type that name in, I guarantee you the story will come up. I watched YouTube videos on it. This guy goes to the actual place and like takes video of it and everything. And it's pretty creepy. The house it looks kind of like the house from the first one, like of the cathedral. And it was built in the early 1900s. You're like, damn, it's kind of a little more real than you think. I mean, obviously not, there's no creeper, but. But anyways, into this fucking trash pile of a movie. Erik, how did you like this? Please, like, enlighten us.
There are good parts. It moves faster than the third one. Like the third one dragged in my mind, and I mentioned that in the last podcast. The dialogue was terrible altogether. Like what's the line? I wrote it down. You should have seen your face, hook, line, and sinker. Like there's so many lines like that throughout the movie that are just like cringy, but I kind of enjoyed it. I was along for the ride. I don't know.
Erik, there's a line that says, your precious science doesn't have all the answers.
I know. I mean, I guess that's why I enjoyed it more is because it was so written on a Daddy's napkin terrible. But the third one was so slow in my mind. So this was just at least faster paced.
Did you cringe at the scene where he like buys her all those cosplay outfits?
Yeah, but that was like a 20-second scene. Again, to my point, like they did a lot in this movie, but it was a way faster pace. Where in the third one, we're in the back of a truck for 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes. And I'm like, I get it. The creeper's outside. Like, can we speed it up? And that's kind of why I like this. It's just more for my attention span. I don't know.
I I thought this was so pretty slow, and the thing was like the worst thing for the whole movie for me was like the creeper looked like shit, and then also the green screen. I like didn't even know if this movie was real.
There's a ton of CGI in this one.
It's not, and it looks like a student project. A lot of the CGI and the back, like Alec, like you're saying, like the green screen, like when they're on the roof
Oh my God.
and like the starry night behind them.
Or just the crows flying around. And
Right. This looks like a Windows Me desktop screensaver. Like, what is going on here?
Okay. That scene, that's kind of what I forgot. I thought it was in the third one, but it's in this one. Dude, at the end.
yeah, let's walk through the plot before we
All
get
right, all
all
right.
the way in there. So it starts
Right.
off with a flashback scene. So is this going to be back to Jeepers Creepers 1, or is this the 23 years before that with the couple driving?
Well, the flashback scene is a reenactment TV show that he's watching on YouTube. So it's like
Yes.
it's not real. Like it's like an ID Discovery reenactment show, you know?
But what was that? Was that supposed to be 2001 or was it in the 70s? Because it felt like the 70s.
So if it's supposed to be accurate to the story, it takes place in 1990,
Okay.
but the car looks older than that. Yeah, I mean,
I
because
would
that's
I would say it has to be the even further back, considering the age of the couple, the car they're driving. I don't know if you noticed the seat cushion he had on, but those things were like big in the 70s and in like early 80s. So
oh yeah, it doesn't seem like it was 1990, but I mean, this is just a reenactment, so I don't know.
I don't think this movie respects the occurrence and the timeline of the other movies. I
Yeah,
don't think
yeah,
I don't think they're worried about
true,
continuity. I think they're just saying, hey,
true.
by the way, every 23 years this happens. I don't think they need to say that, oh, this is the same cycle as the other one. It's reborn. Hey, it's just this happens to be one of those 23 years. Just coincidentally. in 2017 or 2022 when this.
Absolutely, but my take is from the opening scene that was a reenactment of like 1978. That's my take.
Oh yeah, no, I think you have a correct assessment of when they did the reenactment.
Yes,
I think
Yes.
that I think they staged it well for that time. So in this movie, that could have been 2 cycles ago.
that's what I'm saying. Like this wasn't even the cycle we've seen in the past. This is the cycle before. And if they have the shot for shot, like what happened in the first one where they're driving and someone's about to like run them off the road and then passes them and then they drive by that same car throwing a body into a pipe and then they go back. So it's like it's a weird thing to wrap your head around, but it's like, oh, in the 70s this is exactly what happened too, probably. But the actress in it, the older woman in the car, she is known for E.T. Her name's Dee Wallace. She was in E.T., The Hills Have Eyes, The Howling, and Cujo. So she's a horror legacy to some extent. And in the last film, Alec, you mentioned what's her name from, was it They Live?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
these movies are bringing in other horror icons and horror legacies. So that's kind of cool. Just want to throw that out there. Yeah, sorry. We go from this opening scene to Alec. Take it from there.
Yeah, I mean, this kid's watching the reenactment show on his phone. His like girlfriend is driving, and they're having like some bullshit back and forth. And we find out that he's gonna propose to her. We find out that she's pregnant, and they get to this horror convention in the middle of Florida, I think. I don't know where this one takes place.
I think this one's Louisiana, and that's why I got confused because I was reading Louisiana and Florida at one point too.
Yeah, so these movies take place all over the place, but this one I think does take place in Louisiana. So they go to this like middle of a fucking field where they're having this haunted convention or whatever. Which like here's the thing. Don't go with that. Like they went way out of their way, it seemed like, to go to something like this.
Well, before that, they're trying to find the horror convention. They end up in a voodoo place in Louisiana, and
Yep.
there's a woman who owns like a voodoo shop, and they're having fun in there, and she's pretty much saying, "Yeah, congratulations to you both," and it's like, "Oh, he doesn't know," and she's like, what?" And then she's like, "You don't know either." It's like, so she knows she's pregnant, and then she picks up the phone and goes, "We found, spiders caught another fly in the web," kind of action, and
Yeah.
get the creeper ready because she's got the best like thing that the creeper wants is like an unborn baby, I guess. I guess they're going that route.
Ugh.
Yeah, and also she tried to sell them a 50, no, she did sell them a $50 map, which was like, oh my God, I got so upset. Like, no, at least take her down to $20 for the map. I don't know.
Yeah, there was no pushback on that situation. Yeah.
So $50, that makes sense for an old map that's like rotting away. But yeah, then they go to the horror convention. Alec, go back.
Yeah, no, they're at the horror convention, and I mean, it sucks. It's like a really shitty, I don't know. It's like a carnival, like that's put together just by like wood and planks and stuff. Like it doesn't even look like a traveling one.
They made a joke, like Ryan said, like it's the gathering of the Juggalos for like an insane clown posse concert.
Right.
But they're not like they don't look like a portable carnival setup. They look like
No.
handmade like wooden shacks. Like how's this like how long did this take? Like are they just in an open field? Like what happens if it rains? Like the entire thing just looks so like shoddy.
Who is in charge here?
It's Madam Carnage. She's in charge.
Right, right. So my whole logic on this thing was like, if you love horror that much that you want to go to a horror convention or whatever, just go to a major city because like make a vacation out of it. Like we'll go to the horror convention, then we'll go to, other things in LA or New York or whatever. You're going to just this horror convention where you're going to stay in a shitty motel. It's in the middle of nowhere. Like there's better places than this. So I don't believe, well, I guess he's because of the creeper. Never mind, because of the creeper. That's why. He loves the creeper. He knows this is the area the creeper's in. Never mind. That makes sense. But the creeper comes back in this one, and that was kind of cool. I mean, we get to see the creeper like being born, which we've never seen before, and he like, crawls out like an evil demon baby thing, and then very quickly grows, into a full-blown monster. So then he starts kind of, terrorizing everybody. And this is the thing that I kind of liked about this movie that I wish that if they ever make a fifth one, they can kind of like connect them in a weird way. But I like that in the third one, there's that group of people that know about the creeper and they're trying to kill the creeper with the mini guns and all that stuff. It'd be kind of cool if in that town there was this cult too. and they were like fighting with each other, like we need to keep the creeper alive and sacrifice people to them, and these people were kind of like fighting, when the creeper's down and protecting it to bring it back, and I don't know.
Like Jeepers Creepers Civil War.
I was just gonna say it's like the Town Civil War. Yes.
I mean, kind of, there's people that believe it should be kept alive and sacrifice tourists and stuff, and then there's other people like we need to kill it. But, you know, anyway, so this is a different timeline. So there's a cult that wants to give the creeper a pregnant girl, because for some fucking reason the creeper would want a fetus. Like he can absorb anybody. Why would he want a fetus?
Well, he collects people's organs, so it's like it's the freshest like thing you can get, like a baby. Ooh, I think
Not
that
even a baby though. It's a fetus.
I know, but they're leaning into that kind of like Rosemary's Baby kind of.
Yeah, but at least there was a baby. This is literally like probably like in a
Uh,
point
uh,
flip in being even viable. Like she barely is pregnant
she's first trimester, 100%,
very early on. Yeah.
very early on.
Yeah, and he does like a C-section in the movie.
Yeah,
He like,
he just like cuts a little like suction hole and it's like, what is that for?
yeah, what are you gonna take out?
Are you going in? Are you taking something out?
Like stem cell creeper over here. I
Yeah.
don't know.
It's like smaller than a sea monkey. Like, what are you gonna take
Well, think
out?
about it. So if the Creeper in 3 had, I know these are different timelines, but like the technology that's available in that truck, imagine what he could do with stem cell research.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Oh my God.
Wow, I mean that could be the fifth one. Who knows?
They catch him and they use his regeneration power for stem cell growth. And so it's like, man, this movie took a turn. This series is different.
He kidnaps like Mel Gibson. Like, what do you use? What do you use to stay young? And like, then we go into a stem cell thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I thought this movie was just like lame. I thought the way it was shot, the acting, the plot was just kind of all over the place. It didn't really respect anything from the previous movies. And it also didn't, I don't know, like the last like 40 minutes of the movie just felt like they were in a haunted house and the creeper would come out and they'd like punch him for a minute and then just like, I don't, let's get to the haunted house though.
Hold
So,
on, back before that. They're at the horror fest,
yeah, yeah.
and she clearly has a link to the creeper. We've seen these like flashbacks and like connections already.
Because he touches something in the voodoo shop apparently, and now she has visions.
That and all, that it's just there's a connection between that. But there's the throwing knife scene at the carnival, right?
Yeah, she cut her finger on it.
Right, but no, but she's throwing the knives and like the shuriken is so they're honoring the previous films by showing the shuriken, and the guy's like, I think his name was Stu.
It's Stu, yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, yeah, like that's a great piece of work right there. And he's like showing her how to throw the
Yeah, he's
shuriken.
right on her shoulder. He's like, you got to plant your foot.
Yeah, if I was the boyfriend, I'd be like, hey, yeah, thank you. Can you take a step back? That is my girlfriend, and it's like, I don't know. That was a little like, okay, Jeepers Creeper here right now, but she apparently has the ability to throw it like the creeper and is good at the shurikens. So I just want to bring that up too. Like she has like some weird like is she related to the creeper? Ooh.
Oh my God.
No, but that's what you would think seeing these scenes, you know?
I fucking hope not. It's like she's half creeper.
But you're right. So what is it, Madame? What is it?
Madame Carnage.
So Madame Carnage, they have a fundraiser or raffle to say like, hey, you could win this night in this like creepy ass barn where we film you, and you win it. It's like I don't want to win that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh, here it's an escape room with danger. You're like, okay, cool.
And by danger, we mean there's like no regulations on the building.
Yeah, but that's like the exact opposite of winning. And also, it's like you give up your rights. We're filming the whole thing too. It's like, no, I don't want anything to do with that. But that's what happens. They go to the house with a few other crew members or people randomly. Like there's like a young girl with a blonde wig or whatever who joins them. And yeah, and then it all erupts. That's when you like they're in the woods. The guy's about to propose to his pregnant fiance, and she tells him she's pregnant, or does she tell him yet? I don't even remember.
No, no, not then, not then.
Not yet.
But it's nice because he's proposing to her before she tells him, and she gets kidnapped by the creeper. And he's like, what the hell is going on? The camera guy gets killed, and it's like, well, there goes our documentation. They go into the house, and here we are. Alec, continue.
Yeah, I mean the house I thought was that whole scene was just so stupid. I mean, they are just I don't know, like the creeper would come out from one room, he'd punch them, and then like he'd go away.
Exactly. That's why I just tossed it to you, because there's 20 minutes of like bullshit. like just like back and forth, like, ooh, the creeper's upstairs and he's tied her to a bed and he's about to cut the baby out, but he doesn't cut the baby out, and then he does this. What's going on? I don't know.
Yeah. So anyway, so they're at the house and there's a lot of fighting, which just kind of goes on forever. And I thought the scene where he just turns on the recorder or the album and just starts playing not even the Jeepers Creepers song, like another song that has the word Jeepers in
I
it.
got it. I got it. I wrote it down. I wrote it down. What is it?
Oh my God, that song. They kept going back to that bit, and that song was so bad. It was so bad.
It's
Yeah.
Jeepers, baby, hungry eyes. Like, oh God, like they tried so hard.
Yeah, I for some reason they still couldn't get it. And so anyway, so the Creeper, I gotta say though, the Creeper has it seems like one record. This is apparently his house, and he's playing the song that he likes on record, and they break it. And like for the Creeper, that would probably be like one of the worst things in the world to happen to him because he has no idea how he's gonna get another record player, or record or anything like that. So like in that moment, I wanted him to go crazy. And he killed people, but I don't know. He didn't go all Hulk on him. I was kind of pissed.
Yeah, he could have just ripped a couple of them in half, but he restrained himself. He just completely brained Carrie, but he showed some restraint. He played with his dinner.
He ate that girl's brain while they're all like downstairs figuring out what they're gonna do. And I was kind of just like, do you care, Creeper? Like, do you even give a shit anymore? Like, you're not even attempting to get them. You're letting them plan, like doing all this stuff. And I don't know. And then the ending is like one of the dumbest things I've ever seen, but also in this series is stupid. So like they climb to the top of this of the church or whatever, and the creeper is going after the girl. She's standing out there like walking backwards with the shuriken, like, come get the baby or whatever. And she's walking outside. And then what does she say? What's her tagline? Like, how do you like these peepers, bitch?
How do you like those peepers, bitch?
She pokes both his eyes out with the shurikens that he made, or I don't know who made them, but
It was him. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And then she, how do you like those peepers, bitch? Exactly.
Okay, so that's like horrible. But then they're like, oh, so he's not dead, but he like can't see, whatever. The two guys on the top of the roof, they throw
The
the
weather vane.
yeah, but here's the thing. I'm sure you guys notice this. It like goes in one direction, but then like cuts and like goes immediately down. Did you guys notice that?
The trajectory is so off.
It like goes down and then speeds up.
It turns 45 degrees mid-flight and accelerates at the same time. It's like they paused it, hit 45-degree turn, and then hit play again, and it just went right through the creeper.
Like whenever somebody was watching that, and there's no way somebody was like, okay, yeah, that looks fine. That looks fine. So like there must have been a fight on set being like, this is unacceptable. Like this looks like shit. Like there's no way that this got passed by Hulu and they were like, this looks good. I don't know. I fucking hated that. I thought that looked so bad.
There's a very strong contingent of me as an individual audience member for this movie thinking that how long was this movie?
It's like an hour and 28, right?
It was exactly an hour and 28 minutes. Yep.
Okay, so imagine if this movie was an hour 45, right? Not, I don't want it to be that long, but there are scenes that feel like they are cut in half or like they don't make sense. A lot of the sequence of events don't really connect. There are times where it's like, what does that have to do with anything we're doing right now? And I just feel like there's a bunch missing. And like you said, Alec, if there was like a fight on set where it's like, hey, this looks terrible. And they're like, no, it has to stand. Well, what if they went back and just like cut out a bunch of other stuff just to kind of spite?
It's like, no, we want her to walk into the bedroom again dressed as Jason. Please. We want a Jason, like sexy Jason. Like, when she's doing like all those like Freddy Krueger, Harley Quinn. It's like we want more. It's like no one needs this.
Why are those two even together? She does not like his nerdiness. He is kind of thinks that she's kind of square about stuff. Like they don't really seem like they're a good match. And then she like reluctantly tries on the things and then goes does the whole fashion show. But like what is their motivation for being together?
I mean, it's not even the creeper either, which you would think like imagine a couple obsessed about the creeper. That'd be something. But she's like, don't get him started on the creeper. Like he never shuts up about it. Like he's
Yeah.
obsessed. It seems like he's the fan and he's like manipulating her, if anything.
Well, of course, but I think you're right, Ryan. Like they don't seem like they're a couple that's about to get engaged. They seem like a brand new couple. Like,
All their conversations are so surface level.
yeah, you're right though.
It's like there's no way a person with her personality would agree to drive to Louisiana without knowing what the festival was like.
Yeah.
without knowing the purpose of what they were going, like, and not knowing about just giving, like, he just happened to have cosplay costumes for her that fit perfectly
Yeah.
well. Like,
Yeah.
there's no way that there's not, like, that doesn't come up, and there's no way that she would allow me, like, oh yeah, let's just drive to this spot that doesn't show up on my GPS on my phone in East Bum, whatever, Louisiana. There's no way she's doing that.
I would love to hear him say, "It's my birthday next month." I would love that line. Like, come on, this
Oh
is
my
for my birthday
God.
next month. Like, oh,
I mean, she hates everything that he enjoys. So you're right. You're like, why are they a couple? Who wrote this? Like, make them at least like have a similar interest because you're right. It's like she's reluctantly dragged along for this. Yeah. Or like make it two friends or something. Because yeah, that couple dynamic was horrible.
And he just keeps going like, "You like this, don't you? You're into this, don't you? You're a horror junkie now, aren't you?" And you're like, "No, no, she's
Yeah.
not. Like, you're not reading the room well."
The last thing, just back to the ending really quick. Like, yeah, obviously the CGI looks terrible. But here's the thing. Jeepers Creepers 2, he gets like his head decapitated and then he is able to bring it back or whatever. He kills somebody and puts it on. This one, he gets the stupid weather vane through his head or whatever, and then he just dies. And you're like, no, 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 that's what killed him this time. And the crows like come and like suck him away or whatever. But you're like, why did that kill him in this one? It's never killed him. Even in the third one, his head gets impaled in his truck in that fucking, booby trap he has, and then he's fine. So why did that kill him?
Yeah, there's no explanation for that crow transformation.
Ugh.
So, like, is he turning into crows, or do they eat him and take him away?
I think it was like it was trying to do like a thing where it's just like the crows now have a chance to beat the scarecrow, which is like I hate this.
I thought it was like the crow, Eric. I thought they were like, we're gonna take him away and resurrect him.
No, they were eating him. They were not helping him.
Huh. Okay, I thought it was it. I thought
So
they were
I
helping him.
thought it was like the crows fighting against the scarecrow. That's what I saw.
I thought they were helping him.
Yeah, me too.
No, they were eating the shit out of him, and then he regenerates afterwards.
I mean, I don't care enough to know, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought they're like, oh, okay, we have to. I don't fucking care. I don't know. I thought the plot was really bad. I couldn't even look at the creeper. It's a different actor than the original one, which is like, listen, I know Victor Salvi, you want to get away from him. I get that, but bring back the original guy. Like that guy was good. He embodied the creeper. It's clearly a different actor in this one, and I thought the makeup looked like shit. I don't know.
It wasn't as good. Yeah.
Well, do you want to give the stats here at the end, Eric?
Really quick before he does, can I just read you two quick notes that I wrote down before we get to the closing numbers?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So, just at the very tail end of the movie, why do the cop cars seem so, like, just visually fake?
Right?
Because they were,
No,
Brian.
I understand that. I know they weren't there, but, like, why not just get cop cars?
Dude.
It's got to be cheaper just to have cars.
Dude, the entire movie was CGI.
Yeah, it was a lot of CGI, especially at the end when they're on the roof and like yeah, it was insane.
I don't believe like anything was real, like
No,
ever.
see, and that's what leads me to this. This was my, like, movie hit, like, credits, and I just, like, all right, and I just wrote this little preamble. What the actual fuck was that movie? What order did they film this? Because the ending and the preceding scenes in the house blew their collective load of a budget, and there were no real full explanations of any context throughout the film. The visions, like touching something in the voodoo shop that unlocked the ability. Why did the visions help her? Was it the future? Was it that she was avoiding something by acting differently? Like, they never explained, like, who were the people in the hoods? Why is the voodoo woman there? They don't actually explain what that is. So that's what it made me feel like they probably had like 10 more minutes of runtime that kind of filled in some of those gaps. Like, oh no, it's got to be under this line. They cut it out. The original Jeepers Baby song was awful, and they played it so many times. And overall, this would have been a fantastic premise if it were actually more satirical, self-aware, and like better made. But then a real Jeepers Creepers movie spirals out of the horror festival. Like, if it was like, hey, no, like, this is like quality made, we're going to focus on the horror festival. And then unexpectedly, the creeper comes in. Like, make it self aware, but at the same time, like, build in that suspense. That's it in the kind of, if you're in the present real world, that's the creeper coming into it. That would be a great premise. And they don't do any of that. And everything they do kind of just falls flat.
Yeah, it's like they're acknowledging that there's the movies within this movie, but then just redoing the movie. Like they're like, okay, we're actually just gonna do exactly what these movies already are. Like, ugh, yeah, it was all over the place. I don't know. I mean, yeah, Eric, I mean, read the stats.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to walk through all four, but I'll start with Jeepers Creepers 1
Yeah.
to the 2001. Budget was 10 million, box was 60 million, Rotten Critic was 45. This film, three installments later, came out in 2022, almost 20 years later. Its budget, God only knows. They can't find it anywhere. It made about 6 million. DVD sales and theater sales, I have no idea. Pandemic sales, who knows? Rotten Critic, 0%. Rotten Audience, 8%. So I hate seeing the Rotten Critic 0. It's like they did things and they tried, but
They did things. Yeah.
the 0, I don't. That's painful.
0 is harsh. Like, give him like a 1. Give him
I'll give him a 9, like a 10.
the acting was brutal, but like it wasn't well written. So, and one thing, just like why does the creeper have the super whistle?
Oh yeah.
I don't know, but I'll give this Ryan. I'll give you this Ryan too. 3, which we've talked about, where I personally enjoyed this film, enjoyed it more than 3. I don't know if I was in a bad mood when I watched 3, but the Rotten Critic of 3 is 17. This one 0. So I'm like, I don't know.
That's too much of a steep drop. I know this movie wasn't good, but like, come on.
A 0 is that's when you just like, that's too much.
A zero is like if it's just static on a TV. And like this is
What would be a 0? What would be a 0?
that's what I mean. Like if it's literally just static playing.
0 effort.
Yeah.
There's effort. There's effort in this film. You have some great legacy actors in it, and
who? I mean, D. Wallace. That's it. That's it.
yeah. I mean, count it.
Sure.
Yeah. That's just my take.
If they made another one, do you guys think that they should basically take the rights from Victor Salva and just make Jeepers Creepers 4, maybe wrap it up with Trish and Ray Wise and like actually do it, or should they do a sequel to this one?
Ryan, I'll let you have it.
I want nothing less than a sequel to this movie.
To this one, okay.
Yeah, I would. You know what? I would say pay whatever it costs. If you could use $6 million of profit from this movie to buy any sort of rights and even make like a limited TV, a couple episode version instead of a movie or whatever the cheapest possible way you can do it, I'd rather see some sort of like stab at concluding the other story arc as opposed to whatever this was.
Oh, okay, so you mean do a sequel? So Jeepers Creepers 4, a true 4.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
If you could take anything from this, take whatever money you can, run far away from this film and this adaptation, and just go back to whatever, even if 3 didn't really work, put something in that like universe, that thread, because this just was not it.
Could you do something where this gets the Halloween treatment, where it goes from 1 and into Jeepers Creepers, like called again with the same title, but it's Trish and it's not anything else, and they acknowledge the bus and stuff, but that's it.
Probably the way to go.
Like, yeah. Like do what Halloween did. Obviously, Halloween had 5 films in between, 6 films, 7 films in between. So like go from that to that, or just a complete refresh. Just a refresh.
As an expert in this field, I have to say that in terms of the scale of Jeepers Creepers experts, there are dozens of us, right? There's not a lot of people that I think ride or die for the Jeepers Creepers films. So if you did a completely fresh like reboot, just even ripping off the original story and just kind of remade it and like updated it a little bit, I don't think people would really care. I think they would watch it and be like, oh, cool, that was fun. And they don't even need to know about the other Jeepers Creepers. That's the route I would take, as opposed to even trying to do anything like this. Like, don't redo it. Just like, don't reinvent the wheel. Do the exact same premise and just freshen it up and put it in a different context.
I agree with Ryan. That's probably the best way to do it. Like just refresh it completely. Start from scratch. Jeepers Creepers 2028 or whatever.
And try to restart everything, because people like that movie, and all the horror fans now are going to go see it, and it's like, okay, yeah, it's just a retread of this, but like at least it's good. So anyways, Erik, I think it might be time though. What do you say you spin the wheel?
All right, let's do it. Spinning. All right, we got Psycho 3.
Okay, cool. So we have Andy Danish. He's going to be coming back on the podcast for that one, and I'm excited. Psycho 2 is pretty good, so I'm pumped to talk about this one. But Ryan, thank you so much, dude. You finished the whole series with us. I mean, how do you feel?
That's 4.
I'm creeped out. I'll be honest.
Yeah, it was a ride. It was a ride. It was a ride that like steadily went downhill, but it was a ride.
An enjoyable one at that, though.
Yeah, man. Well, Ryan, thank you very much for joining us on this journey, and we will definitely get you back in the future. Maybe start a new franchise or any movie that you want to put on the wheel. We'll get something on here soon.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
All right. Well, everybody, thank you very much for listening into all of our episodes on Jeepers Creepers, and we'll see you next week with Psycho 3.
Woo!